Well, good evening, race fans, and welcome out here to the Bullring in Las Vegas. Somewhere along the way, as we lost Dobbs down at the craps table, but he says he will be here shortly. My name is Upstate Al, and we're bringing you tonight's racing action here from the Bullring as our heat race number 1 of 1 coming up onto the racetrack. Remember, these are timed 6 minutes in distance as the field will get ready to go. With tonight's first racing event, it was Hayden Swink setting fast time in qualifying, and he sits on that provisional pole. 16 of the best super late model drivers signing in to do battle here this afternoon, and we couldn't do it without all the great sponsors of the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Invitational presented by Sunoco. Tallarico's Boardwalk Subs, Jersey-style soups, subs, and salads serving West Michigan. Pro Coat Powder Coating, the Perfect Attendance Award, will see a prize bonus for the driver making all of the races here this season. We think Pro Coat Powder Coating. If you need a powder coat, go where the pros go at Pro Coat. The Bubba's About Broke podcast, highlighting short track races from all across the United States. Each Monday on Spotify and Apple. Make sure you give it a good listen. It is a great podcast. We thank them for being a proud sponsor. And LaPlante Racing Products, the proud sponsor of the Triple Crown Series, as we get ready to go with racing here this evening. Field is set for heat race number 1. These drivers that maybe not had a good qualifying run or did not able to make a qualifying run, well, they will get another shot at it right now as they work here down the back stretch. And the field will roll into turns 3 and 4 as they look above the racetrack from our tower. The green flag about to go green. And we are green flag racing for the first time here tonight. Down in the turn number 1, it'll be Hayden Swink jumping out to that early race lead over Deweese. You see them all 2x2 back there. Deweese 1 car away up the racetrack. That was Devin McDonald. He scatters in there when he's hit in the hooks. Here, lap number 1 into the books. It's all been Hayden Swink. Deweese runs second. Here comes Brett the Jet down there in the 3rd spot. Outside lane looking pretty good right now for Zach Nichols in the 44, but he's under attack by the boss man himself, the number 1 of Tanner Tallarico. Crossover move down the back stretch for the 44 of Nichols. Nichols down here through the corners, and he is the single file it out. Chuck Darling back there in the 6th spot. 18th is there now. Zach Coyer, the driver from Tennessee, starting to make some moves. 1 car up the racetrack, and that was the number 9 of Jon Kane. And we want to thank the Kane Family Farms for sponsoring tonight. We'll get a little bit more details in what they did here, but the field all working here down in the turn number 1. Top 4 cars, nose to tail. We're going to see that front bumper, the chrome horn, whichever you'd like to call it, be used a little bit here this afternoon. As Hayden Swink up the racetrack, here comes the number 8 of Deweese. They get linked on there, and there goes a 71 around. The 71 around of Brett Hahn in our first Tallarico Boardwalk sub. Yellow flag of the night coming out here with about 4 minutes left to go in heat race number 1. And that is bad news for Brett the Jet fans here this evening, as Braxton Deweese leads it. Good battle there. Let's take a look back here and see what brought out our first yellow flag of the evening. You can see Brett working there right behind the number 8 car, and this came up the corner. Those guys made contact and checked up, and Nichols did not see what was happening, and around will go the number 71 for our first yellow flag as we come back to live pictures. Yellow light still on top of the pace truck as they work around here. This track notoriously hard for passing, and you got to be right there down at the bottom. It is a very tough technical racetrack, and these race car drivers are doing a good job. They get double filed up. We got 3 minutes. We'll see if Brett Hahn can make something happen. So the pace car down and away into our restart zone presented by Sunoco. We are back racing. Down in the turn one, Hayden Swank way up the racetrack. Zach Nichols into that number 2 spot. Swank going to try to close the door on the number 1 of Tallarico. Good battle back here. Zach Quayer rolls the outside. How about McLaren? First time we mentioned McLaren here this evening. I want to thank everybody for tuning on in. We've got the Bubbles About Broke podcast. Steve Nichols out there. Chris DeWeese. Glad to have you all in chat here this evening for tonight's big one at the Bullring. And we watched the battle back here between McLaren and Coyer running door to door into turn number 1. Oh, hang on to it, Coyer. He's going to get straightened back out, but going to lose a lot of time as he will fall back here to about the 13th spot for car number 13 as he got sideways. Hayden Swank now. Zach Nichols goes around. Yellow, yellow, yellow as the race leader went around. And this is really going to shake up the field with about a minute 25 left to go. We'll see where the iRacing officials put everybody. Looks like Hayden Swank getting back up there, but the yellow flag is we missed it, and we'll go back and look at it. But Braxton Weiss and Zach Nichols making a little bit of contact. And let's take a look back here and see. Racing hard for the race lead here down the backstretch into turn number 3. Oh, Deweese checks up in the 44, nowhere to go. Gets into him sideways. Tallarico makes some hard contact. Other cars sliding in at the back of it. And David Payton and Zach Nichols going to be the 2 cars that are the ones on the backside that are looking pretty bad at this one. So Swank potentially going to be the pole sitter. We're going to go back green flag racing with about 10 seconds left to go. This will be my approximation, maybe less. We will see if we're going to go back green flag racing. But the biggest mover, Jackson McLaren, had a 11th place overall qualifying time. And he sits in that 4th spot right now. Green flag back up, and we are back underway. It looks like we'll get a 1-race shootout down here. We'll see if anybody can make some ground. Tallarico pressuring for the race lead over Swank, put off a turn number 4. It is going to be Hayden Swank picking up the heat race win over Darling. Tallarico 2nd, Darling 3rd, Deweese McLaren your top 5. So that will be how the top 5 finish, and we go into a quick hot lap session. Let these drivers shake down their cars. They might have to pull out a backup from that last one, and a lot of stuff going to go on right now during this. But we want to thank you all for tuning on in for tonight's broadcast. We couldn't do it without you, and we do really thank you all for being a part of it. 1 week ago, it was Braxton DeWeese in victory lane. So regardless of where he finished in that heat race, he is going to have to go to the tail. And that's a pretty tall order for tonight. But tonight's broadcast being brought to you by the Kane Family Farmstead, a proud sponsor with the largest regular season payout of 2024. First place going to get $30. Third place, $20. Third place will get $10. So a $50 prize right there. And then 2 random feature finishers will each receive $20. and you cannot be in the podium. So we thank the Kane Family Farmstead for being a proud sponsor of tonight's races here at the Las Vegas Bullring. We think that driver Jon Kane in that number 9 car is not out on the racetrack right at the current moment. We thank him for being there is the field getting some warm-up laps going around. We'll get ready to go with tonight's racing action right after a quick word from our sponsors. You're watching the American Sim Racing Club right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network.
Bowling brings people together.
Right down the middle. You got it. Uh-oh. Good job.
See what you can do, man.
Oh. Wait.
That's a strike right there.
Woo!
Connect with family and friends. Go bowling.
Welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen. We get ready to go with tonight's 100-lap main event, and this is your starting lineup as they roll off. It'll be Hayden Swink in the 35 on the starting front row over Tanner Tallarico. Charles Darling will start third outside the him, the number 8 of Braxton Luis. Remember, he'll go tail. Jackson McLaren and Andrew Payne making up row number 3. Steve Hoffman in the 86 and Zach Coyer on the outside of row number 4. Brett the Jet Hahn out of Michigan will roll off in the 9th spot in car number 71, and outside of him, the number 49 of Braden Cook. Jon Kane in the number 9 will roll off 11th. Outside of him, the driver from Newfoundland in car number 12, Devin McDonald. And your rest of your starting grid here this evening will be car numbers David Patton in the 38. As we have, well, does not seem want to be running the work for us correctly here tonight as we get ready to go with our racing here. Green flag is up. And we'll get that off the screen here. Having a little bit of technical difficulties, but it was Hayden Swink jumping. Charles Darling working up underneath him. He's going to get that number 93 of Andrew Payne as well. Tallarico working the extreme high side of the that racetrack. They'll get single file. Andrew Payne running back there in the 3rd spot. Last week's feature winner already into the 11th spot. Braxton Luis back here in the Interstate Ford entry, making his way up towards the front. There is your running order here presented by the Kane Family Farmstead here for the Kane Family Farmstead 100 at the Bullring. Andrew Payne going to try to make the outside work. Here comes the 7 of McLaren. He'll dive it down low, and the bubbles about broke Chevy Camaro down in the turn number 3. And that is a good battle right there for that number 4 position. Is our first yellow flag of the evening going to come out. And that is for the 45 of Andrew Hardings. Hardings going around here to bring out the first yellow flag. This is the first race back. Is iRacing releasing their latest build, all cars now with the new damage model on their race cars. Let's see what happened to the 45. See him working down the back stretch here behind the 18, and just got in the corner and around she went to bring out our yellow flag as the field will get starting to get formed up here. It is the 35 of Hayden Swink, the driver out of Woodstock, Georgia, leading this one over Charles Darling, who runs in 2nd. Darling started in that 3rd spot. So we got an onboard look presented by Talarico's Boardwalk Subs as the lights go out around the racetrack. We are going to go racing one more time. As we get ready to go. Field into the hands. We're headed into our Sunoco restart zone. And Hayden Smith going to jump on that loud pedal first, and we are back underway. Side by side back there for spot number 2 is the number 1 of Talarico to the inside of the 88 of Darling. Darling running that 2nd groove, and I'm told that this car is a handful on these colder tires. It waits to comes in after a few laps when the tires get the heat in them. And you can see these drivers tiptoeing, trying to get back to the bottom side. Is now the 44 of Nichols going to take it around the outside down here in the turn number 3. Nichols working the outside of Jackson McLaren for that number 6 spot, and he's got it for the moment. A little bit of yo-yo action going on between the 7 of McLaren and the 44 of Nichols. Nichols going to try to get down low. Here comes Brett the Jet Hahn. Brett in that 8th spot. As you see, Chuck Darling still stuck on the outside. Remember, he started on the outside of the front row. And it is the number 13 of Zach Coyer. He's working on around our pole sitter is the number 1 of Tanner Talarico. Passed him for the race lead a moment ago. So the big boss man, Talarico, up on the point. Talarico showing away over Andrew Payne. Zach Coyer into the 3rd spot now. And Coyer looking sporty here in the first quarter of this race. And he knows some heavy hitters are on their way as we go on board with Zach Nichols with the Pro Coat powder coating on board camera. Oh, Nichols in that outside fence trying to make something happen as he's got to 71. Looking at the inside there, nothing he can do with it. And Charles Darling still stuck on that outside. He is being shuffled back almost outside the top 10. Tanner Tallarico though out front, opening up about a 3/4 second lead over Payne, Coyer, McLaren. Swank your top 5. A little bit deeper in the pack though. Jon Kane in that number 9. Trying to make his way up towards the front here as he works down here on the front stretch into turn number 1. A little bit of a gap there but before he gets that battle in front of him. And Kane in that number 9. Long-time competitor of the American Sim Racing Club, and we thank him and his family for the Kane Family Farmstead 100 here tonight as we close in on the 1/4 mark of that already going away. And Tallarico in another zip code over to Steve Hoffman now, trying to put some pressure on the 9, the Kane. Up front, though, Tanner Tallarico opening up to almost the second lead over Payne. Coyer in third. Jackson McLaren is starting to reel in the backside of the 13 of Zach Coyer. Good battle here, though. Braxton DeWeese to the inside of Zach Nichols. So DeWeese started back in the 15th spot, finds himself now. The crossover move attempt by the 44 Nichols will do so. 8 car going to check it up on the outside, trying to hold him at bay, but Nichols in the preferred lane. Rolling it down here into turns 3 and 4. So Tanner Tallarico in that first spot still leads it as we watch this battle inside the top 5. Now the number 18 of Devin McDonald trying to make something happen underneath the 88 of Chuck Darling. Darling on the outside. He's going to tuck it back low. So good battles here. Is Braxton Louis Swank going to continue his slide back right now? As both Han Nichols DeWeese able to get on by the number 35. Maybe not just liking the way the handling on that race car is right now. As we close in is our Tallarico Boardwalk sub yellow flag coming out once again for the 45 of Andrew Harding's going around in turns 3 and 4. See him down the backstretch, down into the corner. Just got up in the loose stuff and around it'll go. Right in front of his teammate as we come back to live pictures. Everybody staying out on the racetrack. Remember, they do have an extra set of tires that they can use. Got Doug out there in chat. Good to see you, Doug, here this evening. Same with Eric. Good to have you back here in our chats. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Let these drivers know that you appreciate their efforts here this evening at the Bullring. Track very tough to get around. It is one of my least favorite to race on. But we will race it, and it always puts on a good show. Usually towards the end of the night, we see a little bit of tempers flaring. So the field getting doubled up behind the Chevy Silverado pace truck. Some takers on pit road going to get out. Stay on the lead lap. Into the Sunoco restart zone. They come. Tanner Tallarico and Andrew Payne up there, and Tallarico not going to wait around to play any games. Green flag back out as they enter turn number 1. Payne able to clear to the second row. He'll tuck it back in line, but then it is a dogfight back there. McLaren on the outside, and you got to be careful on that outside. We saw what happened to Chuck Darling when he restarted on the outside. He went from second all the way to almost outside the top 10. So that coveted inside spot really important here. Down to the inside, and it is the number 71, Brett the Jet. Taking a look down to the inside here, trying to make something happen to get into that 4th spot. But McLaren able to hold on tight. Doing all he can, but unfortunately, like now the 44 of Nichols gonna swing down to the inside, and he will make it by. And here comes Braxton Luis. We're on board with the number 7 of Jackson McLaren, and you can see how close they are to work around this racetrack, and Luis able to make the pass. You just hear how long they're out of the throttle. David Payton, that 38, starting to make his way up through the field as well. He's up 7 spots as he makes it into the 8th spot. The hard charger, though, has been Zach Nichols and I'll say Braxton Luis. Both those drivers coming from the back of the pack. Nichols in this number 44, up 10 spots into the 4th spot. Right now, Tanner Tallarico leading as we close in on the halfway point of the Kane Family Farmstead 100 here at the Bullring. Tanner Tallarico still up at the front of this one, as you see him right there. Working down the back stretch. He's got a nice looking hot rod in that number 1 car. Right behind him, Andrew Payne in that number 93 to 13 is Zach Coyer. And our 3rd yellow flag gonna come out once again for the 45 of Andrew Hardings. Hardings losing the handle once again and has jumped it to pit road. So a tough night, and this racetrack will really test you. But now we are at the halfway point. Will we see some pit strategy? We take a look on pit road. Looks like Charles Darling coming down pit road this time. Let's see what his crew is up to with that number 88 car, and he'll hit his pit stop. It looks like possibly right side tires. Hoosiers tires going on that race car. This time by a lot more cars coming down pit road. It looks like Tanner Tallarico and Andrew Payne staying out. Meanwhile, the rest of the field coming down pit road. So we'll see how this all shakes out, but it is Tanner Tallarico that leading the halfway point. Andrew Payne in 3rd, David Payton in the 4th spot. Devin McDonald is 5th, or fourth spot, excuse me. And in the fifth spot, the driver, the number 86, Stephen Hoffman. And Hoffman, we don't really talk much about. One of those quiet runners, running when he can. And always has a great looking hot rod. I always love the colors white and purple together on a race car. Always sharp looking. It looks like breaking news in the chat where it looks like Interstate Ford has come back on board for the driver of the number 8 of Braxton Louise for the second straight year. So that's always good to hear. We love when sponsors re-up with their race drivers. Means the drivers and the crews are doing their job representing them. And Braxton, a good little shoe there in that number 8 car. But right now it is Tanner Tallarico showing the way. Him and Andrew Payne, the only 2 cars on the racetrack that have not come down pit road. We'll see what happens here. They got some hungry cars behind them as they are in the Sunoco restart zone, and we are back underway. Tanner Tallarico able to get a good jump. David Payton was there as well. 93 of Payne unable to get down just yet. As they all work their one car a little bit sideways. Hoffman was. Braxton's going to have to back out of it. The 13 of Coyer working the outside, and they're going to go 3 wide in the turn 3. Braxton thinks better of it. Has to check up hard. Braxton trying to figure out what lane to go. He's going to go to the outside where Zach Coyer is. That opens the inside for the number 7 of Jackson McLaren. Smoking! Hang on to her. Around will go the 86 of Steve Hoffman. As we were on an action, it looked like Hoffman gonna go around, and that looked like they had to check up hard for the 93 of Payne to get back in line. Let's try to figure this one out. Let's go on board with our Pro Coat powder coating onboard camera. Oh yeah, got in there and has got into the corner panel, and around he'll go. That is a long slide for life. Let's watch it one more time. Down here you see Payne get down in 86, a lot of speed up into the left, into the door panel of the 13. And around he'll go, bringing out our yellow flag here as we come back to some live pictures. So our 4th yellow flag coming out. Tanner Tallarico up on the point. He is the driver leading there. His lights still stay on the pace car. David Payton, how about this driver? Talked to him a few races ago. Love talking with David. Congratulations to the Payton family with everything that they have going on. And Devin McDonald in that 3rd spot. He was on the podium 1 week ago. Can he do it 2 weeks in a row in that nice looking Rowdy Energy number 18? Field doubling back up now, and we'll see what Payton can do on that outside with the 38. But Tanner Tallarico is your race leader. He has control of the field as the official pace truck pulls down and away, and the field rolls through turns 3 and 4 and into that Sunoco restart zone, and we are back underway. Down in the turns 1 they come as they work down the backstretch. Oh, trouble! Trouble, heavy contact, the 18 going around. Braxton DeWeese got put in the outside retaining wall with the 8 car. And with a new damage model, gotta wonder if something might be broken on that number 8 car. It looks like he is trying to come down pit road. Was unable to do so right there. But Charles Darling sliding to a stop it was. The 18 of Devin McDonald that went around. Let's take a look here and see what happened. Up off the corner. Oh, the 18. Oh, got hooked and boom. Grundy went. A lot of drivers making evasive action. Let's go back again here and see. We'll go on board with Braxton Luis. Oh, hard hit right there. And that is gonna spell trouble for a bunch of drivers as we are underneath the yellow flag here once again for the 5th time this evening. And what was a hard hit. Zach Coyer getting put to the back of the field, it looks like. So Coyer taking the long, shameful road to the back of the field, and we'll see if he can muster it back up through. He'll shake that one off. We gotta wonder how much damage is on the 8 car as he sits down there on pit road. And the crew working feverishly on the 8 car, trying to make the repairs. You can see the right front a little bit banged up there as he is down and away. So tough break for that number 8, but Tanner Tallarico still up at the point in the field, doubling it up once again. Short track racing, the pay window starting to get open, and $30 going to tonight's race winner, courtesy of the Kane Family Farmstead. We can't thank them enough for their support. Long-time supporter of the American Sim Racing Club, and we are glad to bring you tonight's racing action here for that. Brett Hahn now starting in that 6th spot right there. Zach Nichols kind of stalled out right there. Tanner Tallarico, though, the control car once again through turns 3 and 4 and into the Sunoco restart zone, and the one at Tallarico is ready to go. We are back racing. A little bit of bumper tag there. Andrew Payne having the check up there, and they are 2 wide. Zach Nichols and Brett Hahn. Here comes the 35 of Swank. Swank trying to make something happen, can't quite do it. As everybody gets into single file. As we look down from the Quick Time Motorsports Media blimp camera as we close in at 25 laps to go, and you're going to see the accordion effect up at the top of your screen as they are all just trying to make something happen here. Tanner Tallarico leading this one is yet the pit. Had the track position, said, boys, you're going to have to come through me here tonight at one of Tanner's best racetracks. And he leads it up here over David Payton and Jackson McLaren. Your top 3, Andrew Payne in 4th. 5th spot is Zach Nichols. Brett Hahn is 6th, and the fastest lap of the race happened just 1 lap ago in 14.61 from the 93 of Andrew Payne. Tallarico starting to feel the pressure from David Payton. Payton feeling the pressure from McLaren. And they all know there's some fast hot rods behind. Payton with a look down low. Tallarico slams the door shut. 23 laps to go. Last time by, the fastest car on the racetrack was your second place and third place of McLaren and Payton. This time by, Tallarico goes a little bit quicker. Andrew Payne the fastest, Zach Nichols second. So a lot of fast race cars with nowhere to go late in the stages here. As they all work here, McLaren now going to take a bid to the inside, nothing doing. Rolling the dice here is Tanner Tallarico, and I guess you got to do that in Vegas. So he is trying to take home the win here tonight. David Payton almost getting a little bit of bumper action there as we go on board with David Payton looking out the back at the Bubba's About Broke podcast. You can see the hounds are licking their chops. They smell the bacon. Who's it gonna be? Just 18, make it 17 short laps in these. Just rolling here through turns 3 and 4, and everyone trying to make something happen. Tanner Tallarico is still leading over to the 38 of Payton. Payton holding off the advances of McLaren. Oh, McLaren a little bit sideways off the corner. Here comes Andrew Payne. Payne going to keep it in lane. Trying to make something happen there. The 44 of Nichols running in that 5th spot. Brett Hahn. Oh, hang on, a little bit of contact. Nichols starting to, Patience starting to run thrill as he tries to make something happen around Andrew Payne. Zach Hoyer working up underneath the 18 of Devin McDonald, and we keep an eye on that. As remember, those two cars made contact to put us underneath our 5th yellow flag of the evening. And Zach Hoyer giving plenty of space to Devin McDonald there, who might be a little bit heated underneath the helmet. He'll get on by clean and green. Back to the front though, Tallarico leads it with 10 laps to go. Can he hold on for the win over David Payton? Payton to the inside. He drives it in deep. Here comes Tallarico up off the corner. Half a second, about 3 car lengths separating your top 2. And he has got a trunk full of About Broke podcast hood of McLaren. McLaren's got the 93 of Andrew Payne breathing down his tailpipes. Who's got the 44? Nichols with a look to the inside. Couldn't quite get the power down to get a good drive up off the corner. Tallarico working there up at the front, but it is all eyes on this battle back here with 6 laps to go. Tanner Tallarico, remember, not pitting. Same with Andrew Payne. Those two drivers doing a well of a job on older tires against these newer tires. And David Payton starting to chip away at that race lead. High 5 is up. 5 laps to go. 5 laps to go for Tanner Tallarico, who is really starting to feel some pressure as David Payton out in a one last charge, trying to get there. Now that Tallarico hits the gas a little bit harder. Down here in the turns, 3 laps to go. Next time by, the 2 dice will be up. Who is going to get the snake guys here tonight at the Bullring? Lap traffic right there in front of your race leader. 2 laps to go. Will he encounter it? It's hard to tell as now Zach Nichols takes a look to the inside of Andrew Payne. Payne up the racetrack, down the backstretch here in the turn number 3. Nichols trying to gain that 4th spot away. He will do so off of turn number 4. The white flag is out. Tanner Tallarico is your race leader. Down the backstretch for the final time. The Boardwalk Subs number 1 through turns 3 and 4. He is going to pick up the Kane Family Farmstead 100 here at the Bullring. David Payton will finish 2nd, 3rd to Jackson McLaren. Zach Nichols 4th, and Andrew Payne rounding out your top 5. Tanner Tallarico going to come down here on the front stretch as he rolls into our victory lane here at the Bullring. We'll see if he burns it down or not. As Tanner Tallarico picks up the Kane Family Farmstead 100 here for the American Sim Racing Club's Super Late Model Invitational Series, presented by Sunoco, and he'll be $30 richer. David Payton in that 38 will come home 2nd, and Jackson McLaren rounding out your top 3 as we head trackside for our post-race show. We are down here. We'll see if we can catch up with Tanner Tallarico as he is moving inside the race car, getting a sip of water, trying to cool himself down as we get all of our top 3 down here on the front stretch, and he is climbing from the car with a big old smile. The number 1, Tanner Tallarico, picking up tonight's feature win presented by Kane Family Farmstead. And well, Tanner, you had me worried out there not coming down for tires at all this race. You're going to come out of here with victorious, but you had some fast race cars breathing down your neck at the end.
Yeah, that was fun. I didn't really plan on pitting the whole time because halfway when everybody else pit, I thought the tires felt pretty good. I was not tight. I wasn't loose. But right there with about 15 to go, it started getting pretty free entry to 3, so I had to adjust for that. But yeah, no, that was fun. I've been running a couple of these races on and off throughout the season so far, and I mean, this is awesome. I love the Bullring. I've never actually ran like a league race here with the guys, and they've always talked about how much fun it is, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a crack at it tonight, and it is a freaking blast. I love this track, and probably will try to run some more Bullring races in the future when we come back.
Yeah, this track, it's always a good track. We see sometimes some frustration boil over with how important and line sensitive it really is out there. Just how tough is it to get down there? You can't really get on those rumble strips, but you got to be right on that white painted line to kind of be in that fast group. How difficult is it to load the car up? These cars, a lot of speed down these short straightaways, and then turn 3 is unique as well.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when you're looking at it. I mean, if you're looking at it from the top down, say, like if you call it the bird's eye view or Google Earth, whatever you want to call it, you look down on it, and the backstretch has got an arc, so the way that you go into turn 3 and the way that you go into turn 1 and through the center of both corners and leave both corners is completely different. So you go into turn 1 and the entry's pretty tight, and then the exit widens way out onto the curved backstretch. So, you know, the way you go into 1 is completely different than the way you go into 3. Into 3 is kind of more sweeping entry, and then you got to pinch off the exit. As you can see, a lot of us try to get really, really low on the exit of 4 and get a straight drive off. So it's kind of almost how you would run a Richmond, if you want to think of it that way, but just flip-flop the straightaways, have the backstretch be the front stretch, and the front stretch be the backstretch. They drive kind of similar, just Richmond's a little bit bigger with some more banking, but you kind of attack it the same way. So it's super fun. This car here is amazing. And like I say, I've heard everybody say good things about the Bullring, and the last race we had here went flag to flag, and we had like 20 cars in that, and that was just amazing. And had a couple cautions tonight, but nonetheless had some long runs in there as well, and this was a good time. Glad I got to run it. Thanks to Jon as well for coming on board for tonight's race. As the admin and the runner, or I guess the admin of the series, I don't get to keep any of that money, so that'll actually get transferred down to Dave and Jackson and Zach a little bit further down the line, as well as 2 random finishers, which were Hayden and Devin were our 2 random finishers taking home some prize money tonight. But that's all courtesy of the Kane Family Farmstead and Jon Kane for hooking us up for the night. So cool little deal, our highest paying race of the season.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of great supporters of this series, and it's always good to keep seeing that family of sponsors grow. If there's some people out there that want to get involved on the sponsor side, or even get involved with American Sim Racing Club, how do they go about doing it?
Yeah, so I mean, we're a pretty laid back group here. I mean, we're don't do anything too by the book other than the actual rule book, but everything else is kind of easy to get into, and there's a couple different ways you can get involved. If you'd like to, you can head over to our website, theamericansimracingclub.com. There's a contact us prompt. That's probably the easiest way to do it. That's going to get linked right to my personal email. I check that throughout the day pretty often, so anytime there's any messages that come through the website, that's a quick and easy way to do it. If you're on Facebook, you can message me personally, Tanner Tellerico on Facebook, or you can message the actual iRacing group that we have. It's the American Sim Racing Club on Facebook. Any of those 3 ways will work. But we're always looking for new partners. It's awesome. This is the first season where we've had 3/4 of our season covered with sponsorship, so that's amazing to see. It goes a long way in our competitors' eyes. The guys love racing for, whether it's a little bit of cash here or there, paint schemes, or anything along those lines. Just something to incentivize sim racing a little bit for the guys. It's always a good time. So as I said, thanks to Jon and the Kane Family Farmstead for coming on board tonight. That's a really cool deal, and happy to have Jon in the league. He's been a long-time supporter of ASRC, and it's just cool to have all this stuff come together like this.
Well, congratulations on the win. Will we see the 1 car out at Langley next week?
Possibly. We've kind of been playing it by ear, these races where we've been having kind of middle-of-the-road car counts. I might hop in there and fill the field, but, it's all car count dependent. If we go into Langley and we get, 20 cars, I'll probably sit that one out. But if we go in there and we get, I've been telling myself any less than 16, or 16 or less, I should say, I'll hop in and be an extra car in the field. But we'll just have to see how the car count goes.
Well, tonight you were the car. You're going to leave here victorious. Congratulations on the win, Tanner. And we hope to see this 1 car out on the racetrack much more. It's a lot more fun than just sitting in the booth watching.
I think so, yeah. Hopefully we can get out a couple more times for the end of the year.
All right, well, congratulations, Tanner. Thanks for your time, buddy. And thank you for everything you do here for the American Sim Racing Club. I know that the racers appreciate it. I appreciate it. And you guys always put on a good show.
Yeah, thank you. You guys knock it out of the park every week, so thank you.
There you go. That's tonight's feature winner, the number 1 of Tanner Tallarico. This driver, well, he's going to come up the bridesmaid 1 time again. But, David, it's always good to talk to you. You're going to come home with a 2nd place run here. Kind of an eventful night. We saw some action in the heat race for you, and then it worked itself out. You're going to come home with a 2nd place finish at the Bullring.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, I think I wasn't expecting much because it was so hard to pass here. I think I just kind of played the little pit stop right there, and I came in before everyone else did, and that put me up near the front when everyone else pit for tires. And this was one of those tracks where all you had to do was not come off the bottom, and you were pretty good. Someone either had to move you or wait till you made a mistake, and I was able to put it together without making mistakes. So that was a good run.
Yeah, a good run, a good points night, and this track, very technical of a racetrack. You were being hounded there those last few laps. You had McLaren behind you, and you know that what was behind them between Nichols, Hahn, and Swank. You had all those, the fast guys that pitted or got into trouble early on. were right there knocking on the back door. How much were you watching the rear view versus watching just looking out that windshield?
You know, you're right. I mean, I knew all these guys behind me. You know, they can beat me pretty easily. Where I gotta put in some effort to stay in front of them. But you know, with the track being just stay on the bottom kind of track, I just sort of focused on not missing the corners and staying on the bottom. And I mean, I glanced at the mirror a few times, but it just doesn't matter really at a track like this. You know, I just had to stay on the bottom, and that's all I had to focus on doing. So I wasn't really looking at the mirror too much, but I knew Jackson was back there, and I knew if I made one little mistake, he was gonna capitalize on it.
Well, you're gonna leave here at second place finish. Next week, we head back to the East Coast to the Langley Speedway, and Langley, one of those flat, tough racetracks. What's your outlook headed to Langley?
I don't really know because I think we only ran there once before, so it's still kind of new. I don't really know how to run it, so we'll kind of make it up as we go. You know, we'll just kind of the same thing every night. You know, I never know what to expect. It's just so up and down. At least it has been for me this season, that I'm just trying to go into each night without making mistakes and finish as good as I can for whatever situation I'm in. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So that's going to be my plan going into Langley.
Well, that sounds like a good plan. And sometimes the unknown works out the best, right?
Yes, sir.
Well,
each time I've talked to you this season, I think it was because of some unknown that worked out in my favor.
Well, you're going to come home with that second place finish. Who makes it all possible for you to do so?
Well, ultimately, I'll start out with my wife first this time because she's actually in the room with me playing Sonic on the TV next to me, which surprisingly wasn't a distraction. But, you know, she's still a trooper, and she sticks with me and lets me pretend to be a race car driver every so often. So thanks to Natalie, and then, of course, all our series sponsors, Hometown Sunoco, Eliff Brothers Roofing, Boardwalk Subs, and Pro Coat. And then we did have a special sponsor tonight. We have, I'm sure Tanner mentioned it, but longtime league member Jon Kane. He's with Kane Family Farms. They're out of, I believe it's Ottawa, Illinois, or Yorkville, Illinois. I've been trying to get him to use Pinkerton to do their fueling for a while now, but he won't budge. But nevertheless, he stood up. They came up and they gave us some extra money here for a payout tonight. So Kane Family Farms is definitely on the list. I was looking them up before the race, and it looks like they got a really nice little setup down there. Lots of stuff for the kids. They got hay rides or tractor rides and corn mazes and all kinds of stuff. It looks like they're doing down there. So if you're in the area and looking for something fun to do with the kids, look up Kane Family Farms in Ottawa, Illinois. We definitely appreciate them giving us a little extra money tonight.
Well, you're going to walk out of here with the most of that extra money, as Tanner is not eligible. So you're gonna get that money. Are you gonna spend it on some fresh Hoosiers for next week, or what you got planned?
I think me and my wife are gonna go to Taco Bell.
All right, there's one on every corner.
Yeah, that's about what $30 gets you nowadays. So
hey, you can get a lot of food from Taco Bell for $30.
Yes, sir.
Well, congratulations, David, on that runner-up position. We'll look forward to hopefully talking to you in 1 week's time. Until then, buddy, enjoy life, and we'll see you next week at Langley.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Al. Thanks for broadcasting.
You betcha. That's David Patton. He's going to come home in that number 2 spot. And now our third place finisher, the Mr. Jackson McLaren, going to come home in that spot number 3. And Jackson, an up and down night, and you're going to come out of here with a podium finish. I think it might be time to head down into the strip and maybe play on some of these tables.
That's right, man. That's how I feel after this race. I don't really have a lot of experience at the Bullring, and coming into practice, I really didn't feel that good about it, man. I played around with brake bias and just all throughout the practice trying to just figure out, the best way the car to handle there. But in the heat race, we ended up starting 11th and finished 5th, so got really good track position there to start the feature. And man, we had top 5 speed all race. We ran right there with everybody, and the Bubba's About Broke podcast Camaro was fast all race long. Came in and got 2 tires there on that last pit stop, and that put us in really good track position. Avoided a couple of wrecks that were closer than I like, but we made it through and ended up on the podium for the second week in a row. It feels good.
Yeah, talk us through that last restart, I believe it was, and you started on the outside of Andrew Payne, and the outside really normally not the place to go there, but how'd you make that pass work that got you really solidified getting that podium position?
Yeah, that was an aggressive restart. For some reason, it just worked that time. I'd been struggling on the outside all race long whenever I had to be out there, and I think it was off of turn 2 that I got the run on Andrew there, and I immediately just dropped to the bottom going into 3 because I knew if I didn't take that spot when I had it, then I would regret it. So just had really good speed, though, to be able to do that. The car all race long was handling really well for me, and I feel like if I could have gotten past David a little earlier, maybe I could have had something for Tanner, but I just wanted to finish the race and capitalize on running third and not, jeopardize myself in any way. So congrats to Tanner, and we all raced really clean up there. I was holding off Zach and Andrew there toward the end and brought it home in a very solid third place finish. So it feels good to build this momentum now, trending in the right direction for sure.
Next week, the series heads back to the East Coast to the Langley Speedway, and Langley, one of my personal favorites, but a flat racetrack, not a lot of banking to it, another technical racetrack. What's the outlook headed into Langley?
I absolutely love Langley. That's one of my favorite tracks on here. I love running street stocks, late models, anything at that track. So feeling really good about going there next week and knocking on the door of that first win. I got to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, get knock that off and get put a notch in that win column for you. But you're really getting close to this. I think this is your second or third podium in the last 4 or 5 races. I don't have the stats pulled up in front of me to be too accurate with that, but I think that's right about where you're at, and your car's getting faster in each and every week there. But who makes it all possible behind the scenes to make it all go around for you?
Yeah, the Bubba's About Broke podcast. Make sure you check us out every Monday. You guys do a great job with our ads on here, and we greatly appreciate it a whole lot. Thanks to you guys. I'm going to go back as soon as this is over and watch the race and see if there's anything I could have done differently to pull off the win. Thanks to Tanner for putting this league on. Congrats to him on the win, and we'll see you all at Langley.
Sounds good. Congratulations, Jackson. We hope to talk to you maybe in the 2 rungs higher next week at the Langley Speedway.
That's right. Sounds good. Thank you.
There you go. That will wrap up our Kane Family Farmstead post-race show here this evening, and we want to thank them once again for being a proud sponsor of tonight's racing activities. And only one thing left to do here this evening, and that is to go over our final results. Final results presented by Hometown Sunoco of Cutlerville, serving the greater Grand Rapids area. Make sure you stop in and grab yourself some race fuel for your day racer or your race car at Sunoco. Tanner Tallarico going to pick up the win. David Payton second, Jackson McLaren third, Zach Nichols will be fourth, and Andrew Payne running out the top 5. Brett Hahn will finish 6th, Hayden Swank 7th, Zach Coyer in the 8th spot, 9th and 10th with a Charles Darling and Devin McDonald. Jon Kane will finish 11th, Braden Cook 12th, Braxton Dewey's 13th, Steve Hoffman and Andrew Hardings in the 14th and 15th spot. Well, that will round out tonight's racing activities from the Bullring. As always, it's been a pleasure bringing you all the racing action here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. My name is Upstate Al, and we look forward to seeing you next week at the Langley Speedway. But until then, we hope you keep it wheels down, and we'll see you in turn number 3. Good night, everybody.